Welcome to Friday. It's the 10th day of December 2021. Welcome to the Day Weather Podcast. Well, the first winter storm we've had in a long time has closed roads and highways across parts of the Intermountain West, especially across parts of Wyoming. And we're going to be suffering through some cold, windy weather today with areas of blowing snow, cold wind chills. Still a little bit of snow will fall, mainly in the mountains and some of the plains, but the main part of the storm is done. Then a break in the weather pattern this weekend through Tuesday, but folks, we're going to be having some problems with wind. Wind is going to be picking up, causing blowing snow in areas that receive snow. So I'm talking about Interstate 80 in particular. I-80 is going to be a headache. First of all, it's got to get open. Then once it gets open, there'll be a lot of blowing snow, and that's going to be hard to keep it open and keep things really, really icy. We've got another storm that's going to roll through Tuesday night, Wednesday. Another storm system by next weekend. The mountains are going to get the bulk of the snow. For you folks along the Front Range of Colorado, you're going to have to be patient. For other areas further north, there'll be some snow chances, but this is really a pattern that is going to dominate in the mountains. The mountains are going to be the big winners. Here's today's trough. It's coming through right now. Now, the bulk of the snow has fallen, but there'll be light snows continuing to fall in the plains and into the high country, but it's going to move rapidly off to the east very, very quickly. Look at this. The Colorado Avalanche Center has highlighted avalanche warnings, an avalanche warning in the red areas here, and we have a considerable avalanche advisory in effect for the Grand Mesa area. Now, you may be thinking, well, the mountains really don't have a lot of snow. Why is there an avalanche warning? Well, they did get a lot of snow over the last 24 hours, and that snow fell on top of the crusty snow that has accumulated in October and early November, and that crust makes a very slippery surface. So you get a lot of heavy snow on top of a slippery surface, so it's really easy to trigger an avalanche danger. So if you're going to go up into the high country and play in the snow this weekend, keep in mind, don't be fooled that there isn't a high avalanche danger because of the lack of snow. Now that we're getting it, that snow's accumulating on that slick surface. Here's the pattern for Sunday. At 18,000 feet, the 500 millibar chart here showing a west to east flow across North America. So that means mild air comes in Sunday through Tuesday. So Sunday through Tuesday will get warmer, but these strong jet stream winds moving perpendicular to the Rockies will make it windy, because this is where you get the lenticulars again, you get the wave function. But this next trough that's coming in here from the northwest is going to be moving in. As it does so, here are the wind gusts through the weekend. See all the orange here and the reds and the browns? Very strong winds will be developing, and this is going to be just absolutely plaguing Interstate 80 here and sections of I-25 as well. And some wind along I-70 in Colorado's high country will be a concern for keeping things icy up there. This is by Tuesday, noon on Tuesday, a strong front. This is a vigorous system. This is going to be a big rain producer for California, Washington, Oregon, up into British Columbia. It's going to be a big snow producer in the Sierra Nevada and the Cascades, and then eventually into the northern and central Rockies. Another wave comes in behind it. This wave is going to end up being in Colorado by Wednesday morning. We think it's going to be a really quick mover. So again, it's not going to be much of a snowmaker on the plains, but it will in the mountains. This next wave right behind it comes in as a cold front that moves through during the day Friday into Saturday morning, and that's going to bring another wave of snow to the mountains and a shot of cold to the plains. But these are really quick moving systems. They're not going to be your Four Corners low or a low that sets up in the southern plains. That's the kind of low we need to get the lower elevations east of the divide wet. That's why it's going to be mainly a mountain situation here, at least for the next 10 days. And speaking of the next 10 days, these are the forecasted precipitation amounts. Look at all the red here. So this is great news for California's snowpack and rain into the coastal areas, but going deep into the Great Basin, look at the Wasatch, look at the mountains of northern and central Arizona, the mountains of Colorado and southern Wyoming, the Yellowstone Plateau, the Bitterroot. The mountains are going to be the big winners, but you can see east of the divide, the Colorado Front Range here, out into the plains, that's a downslope area. You're just not going to get much snow, but at least the high country will be. This is the snowfall forecast. We've got 4 to 5 feet of snow potentially in the Sierra Nevada coming our way. Good news for there, and also some really impressive snowfall totals elsewhere across the region. Now, a quick La Nina update. we have those sea surface temperatures continuing to be very cold. La Nina remains robust. And unfortunately, as we go through the month of December, into January and February, we're going to have to suffer through La Nina for a bit longer. Sea surface temperatures up here in the Gulf of Alaska region continue to be very cold as well, although the cold pool here has shrunk somewhat. It's more towards the coast now because the continent up here, as we have been talking in earlier podcasts, is extremely cold. And that cold air off the continent is affecting those sea surface temperatures there near Alaska. But there's been a little bit of a bulge of somewhat of a warming trend there. We do have a little piece of good news to pass along when it comes to La Nina. We have talked in earlier podcasts that we thought El Nino, or at least a neutral situation, would be developing by spring or summer and the La Nina would go away. And the European model that goes out now to May with sea surface temperature forecast is showing this area warming up. This little patch of warm water right here by May, if it does develop, would mean, yes, La Nina would be over, but it won't be over till April or May most likely, and we'll have to go through another 3 months of La Nina being around. Thanks for listening and watching the Day Weather Podcast. Have a good weekend. If you have to travel, do so carefully, and have yourself a good weekend. We'll see you on Monday.